Oceania has swallowed this place. Salty saliva dribbles from the corner of her full lips. Land sinks deeper into the black abyss of her esophagus. Pandanus leaves and hibiscus tree lean into the reflection of her seductive waves. They sway in the breeze as they see this old place reborn into a new place. The undulating ripples of the western wind kisses the surface of her waters, leaving glitter and sea spray sprinkled on the veins of her leaves. Here, I have felt, I have seen the submerged world bleed from between my thighs. It is red, and every firstborn child here is a woman, and every woman is a queen.
Good morning, good afternoon, good day VC. Hope you're doing well. Welcome back to the channel. You will immediately notice that I'm not at home right now. I am actually out on a walk on this lovely late summer's morning. It's a Friday morning here and there is absolutely nobody around. I'm currently at Pirihi or Red Rocks Reserve and I'm going for a walk. I wonder if I can show you guys it. It's probably the other way around here. 5 points. You probably can't really see it, but you see that headland all the way over here. I'm going to go for a few hours walk out that way. But anyway, I thought I'd film this intro here because this is a really beautiful part of the city I live in. It's a lovely reserve. You might be able to make it out here, but that in the background is actually the top of the South Island of New Zealand. Anyway, so this video is something I've been wanting to make for a long time, and I kind of thought it would be quite a cool, natural conclusion to my series of showing records from around the world. Now, oh shit, if you look behind me, there's actually a car coming, so I better get off the road here. Only four-wheel drives are allowed on this track. Anyway, I mean, that's, yeah. Unexpected way to break the piece. So as I was saying, I wanted to do a video to show some really unique records that are really unique in New Zealand and on a global scale. So I really want to show experimental music with a focus on Maori, Indigenous culture and Indigenous instruments. Music that kind of takes into its spirit the culture of this land. Now I acknowledge it's not my culture. I wasn't born here. I was born in the UK. But there's a really lot of powerful music that is absolutely a unique voice and a unique tone to the country I live in and my country, you know what I mean? So this is music that can only come from this island in the world. There's nothing else like it. It's absolutely unique, absolutely special. So yeah, I wanted to kind of, there's a lot of music that does use Indigenous Tangapuro, which is like a lot of handmade traditional Maori instruments. But I wanted to do something that puts them into more of an experimental context, which is probably similar to the sort of stuff that you guys would kind of like. So yeah, I guess that's what I wanted to show in this video. So I'm going to jump forward to being back home, but I've got 5 records that are very unique to where I'm from. Enjoy the video. I'll see you back home.
Fast forward to 4 weeks later, and summer has officially ended, and we're now well into autumn here in New Zealand, or fall as you guys call it in the US. So here we are to show 5 records. Now I tried to get it on video in the first intro, but I just thought I'd explain a bit more why I think this music is really, really important. Because the reality is, I live in Aotearoa, New Zealand. As you all know, it's one of the most beautiful places in the world, but reality is that it was colonized, and a lot of Indigenous, Maori and Pacific voices have been suppressed and put down and silenced, especially culturally. In sort of the last 10 years or so, there's been a massive groundswell and resurgence on the importance of Maori language, Maori culture, Maori understanding, lots of renaming of traditional places, streets, organizations. The demand to learn Te Reo Maori in New Zealand has shot up again. A lot of younger people are connecting back to their original traditional roots, and we're kind of seeing that come through in music as well. Singers like, this is a really high popular example, but Lorde, the pop musician, released one of our albums, sang completely in Te Reo Maori. We have lots of popular New Zealand musicians singing and directly referencing that sort of stuff. So it's very, very cool to see that being brought back into a mainstream environment. And of course, that has also meant in jazz and experimental circles, a lot of that music has been, brought forward and put into a really interesting musical experimental context. So I kind of, to be able to listen to that music and hear what has been brought forward through time, and we're kind of at this stage where this music is sort of mixing with a lot of jazz and experimental, and we're getting these completely new sounds and interesting pieces of music that you almost have never been able to hear in the past, and you can't hear it. It's not from anywhere else apart from this country that I live in. So this is where, I wanted to show these records, because culturally they're so important for the times that we live in, especially relating to this country kind of thing. These musicians are so amazing and so talented and out there doing things that no one else is doing, which is very hard to do in this day and age when everything feels like it's been done a million times. So, massive power and respect to those people to be able to dig back and really feel what their ancestors felt and bring it into into modern music, I guess. All these records feature traditional Maori instrumentation called Tangapuro, and what that is, it's kind of a range of different types of instruments that are used sometimes together, sometimes separately. They all sound quite different or have different textures. It does translate to literally singing treasures. They usually they're all played by hand, whether it's the mouth or through texture or movement. But that's all the music does feature that, along with other different effects and things like that. I should say that a lot of this music does feature people from, or have heritage from, not just New Zealand, but from the South Pacific. Obviously, where I am in the world, most people in the West kind of think that we are close to Australia, but I think probably, they forget that Fiji, Samoa, Tonga are all very, there's Oceania, there's lots and lots of small islands here, and lots of people that share values and culture and traditions through that, and that's not really talked about. I think the connection through Australia comes from a very Western point of view, but the Indigenous people here have all had ancestral roots within traveling through Oceania and stuff like that. So I'm not just talking about Maori culture specifically. But so there we go. That's kind of what I wanted to do. I think because most people, when they see I'm a vinyl community guy from New Zealand, the conversation goes towards Flying Nun, indie rock, which of course we are very, very good at, and it's definitely a proud thing to have that music come from here. We are a very small population to have such a cool label, which is still active doing that stuff, is great, but there's a lot of really cool other stuff in New Zealand that I want to focus on, basically. So this is the first album which kind of set me off on thinking about how I want to make this video. It gave me an idea to put it together. This album here came out, I think it was December 2024, on Audio Foundation Records, based out of Auckland. Audio Foundation are a fantastic community-run musical venue and label. They basically represent or support all experimental music in New Zealand, specifically, well, not specifically, but they do a lot of work up in Auckland with Auckland musicians. This album here is by Abigail Aroha Jensen and Riki Pirihi, and the album's called Tupiki. And yeah, this is a absolutely mind-blowing piece of music here. These are all traditional instruments that have been used throughout the music. If you can see that there, mixed with modular synths. But yeah, there's a whole lot of sounds on here that I you know, you wouldn't really hear them outside of New Zealand. The artwork here is done by an artist that I had never heard of, but I since have done a little bit of reading on, Susan Tikarangi King. She is an autistic self-taught painter that I think at the age of 8 years old decided to become a voluntary mute. You can look up on the internet, fascinating artist. I was lucky enough to go to the album launch of this, and I've got some footage which I'll show you shortly. Now, I won't describe the music to you because you can kind of hear it on the footage, but I'm going to read you a little bit explaining the concept behind what this album is. I've got a little note here. An extraordinary album inspired by Maui's journey to climb the 12 steps to heaven. Tupiki transcends genres and easy descriptions. It is an album full of rich layers and emotional depth, performed by two of Aotearoa's most exciting and adventurous contemporary Maori musicians. So there you go. If you love percussion and textures and music that builds and subsides, it has power, it is very delicate, it moves through some really well crafted phases of music, based on Maui's journey. So it feels experimental, but it's obviously really well thought about and composed in terms of a journey. Absolutely fantastic. I love it. Really wonderful music. So that's record 1. Record 2, long-time watchers will probably recognize this album because when I showed it back in 2020, towards the end of the lockdowns, a lot of people were really interested in this, and quite a few people ended up purchasing it overseas, which was really cool. This is Virtual Shadow Ensemble, Keep Your Distance. Came out on the amazing Noa Records from 2020. Please check out Noa Records, also based in Auckland. Fantastic label. A lot of amazing releases from musicians from all around the Pacific. Specifically, one just came out very early this year, and I'm forgetting the name of it. I want to say it's called Wi-Fi, spelled I can't remember. I'll put it up on the screen. Which is amazing. I've seen a few musicians play in different bands from Noa Records. Yeah, this is just absolutely, for me, was a game changer in terms of this sort of music within New Zealand. It sounds like nothing else I've heard before. You know, I would call it oceanic spiritual jazz mixed with dubby elements, jazz elements, hip-hop elements. Really captures a time and a moment, and voices of young Indigenous musicians here in New Zealand. This is absolutely amazing. Yeah, this is for me one of my favorite New Zealand records for what it represents. You know, it's a almost non-Western view of music, I guess. I feel like I can't do it justice, especially because it's not my culture and it's not my, you know, I obviously can really appreciate it and I love it, and I think this is the stuff that New Zealand needs to hear more of, but I can't speak for it. I can just speak to it and what I kind of enjoy about it. So for record number 3, I'm going to jump back to 1989 to show a record on Jayrem Records. This here is Nahiwi Apanui, Te Hono Ki Te Kana, the Link-With-The-Homeland. Now, the first track on here, He Whakapapa, is absolutely amazing. It absolutely blew me away when I first heard it, and I really mean that. I will say that there's some not so great tracks. In fact, most of it is pretty average. But the first track is probably one of the first experimental Maori pieces of music ever recorded, kind of thing. As far as I know, absolutely wonderful and powerful. I don't know how well that will translate to people outside of New Zealand, but yeah, this is really cool. Yeah, it's basically an autobiographical account of his collection of experiences throughout his life. He was sent away from his iwi, like his rural homeland, to go live in the city at an early age, and it's about his connection back to his land and where he's from. Yeah, you know, a lot of Maori back in the 60s and 70s were taken from where they grew up and sent to go live in urban centres and lost a lot of identity of themselves, been taken away from where they were born and where their family are from. That's a really big theme. But yeah, I think I want to show this one just because of its musical historical importance. The other tracks, Alright, number 4 here. We're going to jump to 2017, and this album is definitely in the more experimental sound, wash, drone, deep bass, This album with this fantastic artwork here is called Clear Stones, and it's by Fis and Rob Thorne. Now, Fis is a Wellington DJ, electronic DJ producer, and Rob Thorne is a practitioner of Tangapuro. I think he teaches at the Victoria University. He's an expert practitioner, and they came together to produce this really amazing and singular piece of music here. Almost like it's really interesting because they do really saturate the Tangapuro with lots of sound. It's hard to, like it sounds like you're stuck inside a washing machine of sound bath and sound and power and bass, and kind of there's been no, it's like they've just really gone to town with making this big wash of sound. It's very powerful. I can't explain it more than that. It sounds like you're underwater almost in some parts. Really amazing. I hope the sound clip kind of does it more justice than that. But yeah, I can check this out. It's on Subtext from 2017. The record I wanted to show comes from a more kind of experimental jazz kind of background. Definitely kind of a more of a contemporary experimental free jazz kind of sound. This came out on a jazz label from Auckland called Rattle Records. This is Redaction, featuring Richard Nunns, Mark Lockett, and the wonderful Jeff Henderson, who is one of my favourite New Zealand saxophone players. Among many other instruments. Absolutely wonderful. This is from 2015. So Mark Lockett on drums, Jeff Henderson, all other sounds, and Richard Nunns, another practitioner of Tangapuro. Definitely takes the Tangapuro and moves it into like a jazz context. Really cool. Mixture of future and past kind of brought together into a concept. I think this is a fantastic listen, very unique, and again the sound clip will kind of do it justice more than what I can talk about. So please check that one out. So there we go. Thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed that. I just wanted to show something that I think was important and unique, and almost my responsibility as a New Zealander to talk about music of people that do belong here, and it is their land and their voice that needs to be heard and deserves to be heard. So yeah, that's the video. Just to be clear again, I have a lot of experimental New Zealand records that I could show. A lot of weird shit, basically, but I really wanted to showcase 5 records that feature Tangapuro or Pacific concepts into the music in a certain way. There's not that much that you can get on vinyl. In fact, if anyone happens to can think of maybe more records that I don't have or can recommend me things on vinyl, there's a lot on CD. Please let me know, because that's all I could kind of think that exists. But yeah, in terms of the future, I'm hoping that a lot more of this music, I mean, it is definitely happening. There's definitely a lot more stuff happening, but I'm looking forward to seeing a lot more of these things put out physically on vinyl. So there we go. That seems like a really nice way to end the series of me talking about records from all around the world, to bring it all back to here. Felt like a good end point. So thank you for watching. I really hope you enjoy the music and the sound clips, and I'm definitely going to be putting a link in the description where you can hear and buy this really, really amazing music. Thank you for watching. Cheers. See you all soon.